is the challenge that not just Kenya alone, but all economies in the world are facing in this time of the COVID pandemic. And even before the COVID pandemic set in, there were three issues that we observed in the fiscal and macroeconomic space. That one, there is increasing need for citizens to expect the public sector to provide more and more services. And that's not limited to Kenya. And that calls for more resources. Then secondly, the tax revenues that normally fund government operations as a percentage of GDP, not just in Kenya, have been declining. And the third one is that the resource envelopes that are normally available in terms of grants, in terms of concessional loans, again are getting limited. And so I think that is the big question about planning at the national level now, where we are faced with that situation. But then now with the COVID, our revenues have been challenged even more. And for instance, we looked at our revenue shortfalls and also the expenditures that we had to incur in the year 2019-2020 to deal with the COVID. And at the national level, the extra costs in terms of expenditure and the revenue shortfall was over 100 billion. Then at the counties, from the controller of budget, we see that the counties also had a shortfall of over 20 billion in that period. And so at the economy level, there's a challenge in terms of the revenues that we are collecting, but we are seeing some positive improvement lately. Now, to the question about the dollar and the exchange rate, it is obvious, and we all know that the dollar has strengthened. It is not so much that the Kenya shillings has weakened. It is the dollar that has strengthened. And also on account of the challenges that we experienced during the COVID time when the COVID started, of exports going down, then the inflows that we expected to come in were also limited. And so the recent recovery of exports that we are seeing, we expect that to support the Kenya shilling in terms of the exchange rate. But then again, we are also looking at increased inflows in terms of FDIs, foreign direct investments, as we continue to structure our public-private partnership structures so that we attract more resources in. And so just to conclude, in terms of the Kenya shilling, it's that it is the dollar that is very strong. It is not the shilling that is falling. Now, the issue about the recovery strategy that the counties are embarking on, I want to relate that to what the national government is doing. And you may remember that we had an economic recovery strategy that we are working on as government. We also had the stimulus economic package, which was looking to stimulate the economy at grassroots level, where we were committing 58 billion Kenya shillings to be spent on jobs creation and activities where there is a lot of labor, especially focusing on the youth, looking at education, looking at infrastructure, businesses, and so on and so forth. So for us in the national government, and also specifically as a National Treasury, we are very aligned to what the counties are doing. And we are very supportive that we work together. And this engagement is one of those engagements that we are saying they are good initiatives. We're working together.
Great.
I thank you.
Great. Perhaps if we can just stay a little bit on that topic of syncing what the national government is doing and what the county governments are trying to do. If you could just delve a little bit, perhaps give us a sneak peek of what to expect in the next fiscal year in terms of, are we expecting another special package or another economic stimulus program? Or what are the priorities, for instance, at the national government level in the next budget?
Thank you, Moderator. Thank you, Moderator. We are at the early stages of doing the 2021-2022 budget. And that process, according to the law and the practice, is preceded by our budget policy statement. So That is what we are busy doing. Now, the background is something that I've painted earlier on, that we have a situation of a weaker revenue base. We have a situation where, in terms of concessional loans or grants, we don't see those numbers coming in big. And also, we don't have a lot of space for borrowing. And so, this calls for a lot of granular looking at what we need to allocate our resources to, in terms of being efficient, in terms of the utilization of resources, and in terms of also asking ourselves, what is priority? And so there's a lot of reason for us as a national government to work very closely together with the counties to identify that which we must do, so that we leverage on the recovery that we are looking to achieve. And there are always opportunities in a catastrophe and a pandemic like we have now. So those are the points that I want us to work together so that we can leverage.
Good, thank you very much. It looks like I'm not succeeding with squeezing the sneak peek out of you, but I'll get back to you. Let's listen to Lady Governor Charity Ngilu. Governor, like you would be aware, the economic shocks post-COVID or during COVID economic shocks have really been felt by governors countrywide, because governors are perceived as the closest government that Mwananchi knows. So I am sure you have a lot of people knocking your doors and asking, what is the plan? Can we get assisted in our businesses? And my question to you perhaps would be, first, to give us your experience of what are the needs on the ground, and also to give us your views on what interventions you think county governments can put into place, or what mechanisms county governments can put into place to be able to revive the various sectors that have been affected. First of all, what are the sectors that have been affected in your view, and what are your proposals of how the same can be revived? Governor.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Deputy Governor Nyeri, and good morning, everyone. Obviously, as people who are close to the people, they're knocking on your door every single day with all manner of problems. And we know that most of those people who have been affected, the sectors affected, health sector, education sector, transport sector, hospitality sectors, and even forwarding, clearing and forwarding, textile and apparel sectors, other social sectors like faith-based organizations and sports. All these have been badly affected indeed, and we are with them at our homes every day. And when, according to FKE, gave us a report that over 1.7 million people have lost their jobs, all of them have come back to our, counties, and we see them and their families who they have been supporting over the years. Therefore, we are dealing with this every single day. Of course, sometimes as counties are also having challenges that we do not get what we need to get from the national government on time, so that we can attend to what we have promised people to do. But the ones that are badly affected, the health sector, people getting sick and now are even not wanting to go to our health facilities, and yet they will come to you and tell you that they are not well. I think that's one of the problems that we have been faced with. Looking at what we as county governments can do also to help the people recover. First and foremost, I feel that there is a sense of urgency for us to address the immediate problems that we are having, and that is joblessness, that people have lost their jobs. We need to put in place, as we put the policies, short-term, medium-term, and long-term. What do we need to do? County governments are playing very important and major roles in settling the people, in the sense that closer to the people, we see them, we know the opportunities, and we also know the potential, we know the challenges that we have. I have personally felt encouraged when I saw, and we got the national government come in with what they put together as, quick support to young people, Kazi Mitaani. It was well done to support people, then young people. We can take over from there so that we can build their own skills. And looking at the opportunities and the potential that we have, we quite honestly and personally think what I've been able to do in Kitui is to look at the opportunities that we have. And national government has come up with something that I find very, very useful. If any of us or the counties who are going to work on this is called the Preferential Procurement Master Roll number 1 of 2020. And it has 334 products that can be produced and manufactured locally. And looking again at again, the Big Four agenda of the president, if we were to produce all these products, in Kitui we have started producing at least 32 products. Let me tell you, if we were to produce this ourselves in this country, we will be saving the country money that would be going out for exports for imports to a tune of 500 billion shillings. And it's for this reason that I think we need to agree amongst ourselves that we need to reduce imports that are not necessary in this country. And this is what we are doing in Kitui. I can tell you that in Kitui we were able to start our garment production. We have been able to start our non-pharmaceutical products that we are making and selling, using them within our own county and selling them outside the county. And if personally I think we were to deal with the many, many imports that are not helping this country, we'll create employment and we'll be able to retain our own money and the jobs.
Wonderful,
Thank you.
wonderful insights coming from Governor Ngilu. And finally, last but not least, the representative of Senate here. One of the roles of Senate is to lobby for more resources to county governments. We'd be keen to hear, under the prevailing circumstances, what is Senate looking at as priority areas to lobby for funds or for additional funds to come to national government? Perhaps how that is going along. Have you considered it? If not, why?
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you, Madam Moderator. I'm privileged to be here today, and I think the backdrop of it is the fact that we had the ad hoc committee on COVID that was tasked to oversight what government was doing during this time. So I think it's from that backdrop that I have the honor of having this platform. So if you'll allow me just also to put up to speed those who are here who we didn't get to interact with, it's good for them to understand that the ad hoc committee was formed in the 31st of March this year. And we had a series of interventions, government and stakeholders, over 100 meetings. Actually, we sat 100 meetings looking at 5 thematic areas ranging from health, social and public order. I'll refer a bit to my notes so that at least I can move faster because I can see time. So we looked into health issues, economic and finance issues, which are today's topic, looking at macroeconomic effects, the impact of business, trade facilitation measures to cushion borrowers and financial institutions. We had large engagements with the entire sector, from the ministry to banks, private sector, SMEs, Juakali, all those. We had interactions with them, and we could see from an early stage, including the Council of Governors, of course, and the County Assemblies Forum. And from an early stage of the pandemic, we could see we had a serious financial issue that was coming about. So one of our first interventions, of course, was to look at a legislative framework that should help the country now and in future God forbid, we should be ever in another situation of a pandemic like this one. And that pandemic and response bill was done in record time with over 160 submissions from stakeholders. It was a very comprehensive bill that we passed at Senate when we were finally able to sit again. And it is now at National Assembly, I think caught between the tussle of National Assembly and Senate. But we hope that bill can see the light of day because it encompassed a lot of the economic issues and how the government would then cushion Kenyans in future, because we could see, of course, that gap coming in. Now, one of the things that I have to highlight, some of our observations when we went around as a committee, is the need to support local innovations. Like what Governor Charity Ngilu has talked about, we realized that there's serious need to support local innovations. We did go to Mombasa at the time we were doing when we were doing our rounds, and we found that I think Mombasa had come up with some innovations when it came to fighting the pandemic to handle the crossing at the ferry. But they didn't get much support from national government on that front. And we said, no, it's good to celebrate local innovations. In fact, we should be pushing more funds towards research and development within our counties so that we can enhance our own local solutions to the problems that we were encountering. Of course, there was the importance of telemedicine. We saw it in some of the counties we visited. We celebrated the counties that we saw telemedicine being used at a time like this, and a time when a lot of our hospitals have capacity challenges. Telemedicine would come into place because then you can communicate with doctors who are not necessarily present, and you can actually provide the service. We noted that, actually. Then, of course, the significant role of the private sector. So some of the other interventions then we came with as financial oversight. We did talk about, should I hold? Should we stand? So in recovery, because I want to go a bit faster, in recovering of the economy, Senate advocated for stimulus funds. We really pushed for this for the SMEs, the women and the youth enterprises, because they were most affected. These are the people who employ most Kenyans, including the Juakali sector. We had large engagements with Juakali sector. And by the time of our sixth progress report that we tabled, we had not seen, that was early September, we had not seen significant help going to the Juakali sector, especially in an impactful way, considering the proportion of Kenyans that they employ in the non-formal sector. So Senate also strongly and successfully advocated for the allocation, the increased allocation of funds, as you remember when we were pushing for the allocation of revenue sharing formula. You remember when that was going on. Now, some of the legislative interventions we are looking at is to allow counties to undertake PPP projects, that's private-public projects, to spur growth and enable the private sector to play a more critical role. So you find a scenario where the county governments then give the enabling environment and allow the private sector also to play a more significant role, being a larger employer of Kenyans would be a good way to spur growth back again. And then we improve ease of doing business. Ease of doing business. I think that is a conversation that must continually happen by mainstreaming processes and addressing, double taxation in certain areas. We came across this as we were going around the counties, a lot of that. And of course, to enhance revenue allocation within the county governments. I know time is tough, but in the healthcare system, we did raise a lot of concerns with our healthcare systems, because even at a time like now, and when county governments had been given some support, we still didn't see a big impact on the healthcare system. And, you can't talk about spurring an economy if the healthcare system is still not as strong as it should be. Kenyans need to be healthy, and these are issues that we have to continually keep talking about. As we celebrate the universal health coverage, a lot more still needs to be done. So, again, Senate has been supportive of all those innovative ventures that would help, the Ministry of Health as well as the county governments to strengthen the infrastructure of the healthcare system. Then in recovering devolution, I have to talk about this. I understand. But let me pause by just saying the issue of accountability came out very strong as we were doing our work in the committee. And we are really pushing for more accountability. I think we can't talk about spurring our economy if we can't be open and, truthful with accountability of public funds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator, sorry to cut you short. We are running a little bit out of time. And I'd like to take final thoughts. First, let me take this chance to welcome our Deputy President and our Chair of Council of Governors, and as well the CS Devolution Senate Speaker, and the other guests who have joined us. We have just been discussing this morning about various arms of devolution and the devolution family and what they all need to be doing to spur or reinvigorate this economy. So I'll take final thoughts from all of us in just a quick 1 minute, and I can see the... Okay, all right. So just 1 minute final thoughts. We'll start from you, Bwana Chairman.
All right, thank you very much, Deputy Governor and Moderator, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and the Chair of Council of Governors. Thank you very much for allowing me that. For me, really, and my thoughts would be how probably the national government and the county government can harmonize policies in terms of making sure that trade policies are conducive to business environment. We would also want to see how do we harmonize issues of cross-border, how do we promote dialogue between the private sector and the Council of Governors and also the national government. And also I just like to support what the Her Excellency, the Governor Ngilu, has alluded to in terms of promoting local production. Yes, we are seeing, for example, Ministry of Health making sure they support local production of reusable masks. We have seen Ministry of Education promoting local production of desks. We have seen also some of the counties like Kipia promoting local production of automobile. And how can we then be able to support these innovations? How can we be able to support this technology? And also just supporting what the Senator has said, supporting telemedicine by making sure that radiology and through e-health can be able to support our doctors, can be able to support the patients to communicate with their doctors and to communicate with pharmaceutical companies or distributors. How we can be able to support them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Final thoughts from Governor Ngilu.
Thank you so much. Finally, just once again, I truly believe that we as a country have everything that others have. With the problems that there are, we can pull out of this one. But we have got to, first of all, get out of the mindset that we are not capable of doing so. We need to look again as the opportunity of our youth, build skills in them, and ensure that they can actually be able to produce, and we counties and the national government buy what is being produced locally. Buy Kenya, build Kenya, build Kenya, buy Kenya. We are importing just too much. And finally, I would like us to look at the cost of power in this country, because it is also making our products be a little bit too expensive compared to what is coming from outside the country.
The
I
cost
thank
of
you.
production. Thank you very much. To conclude, I think I want to give Chair of the County Assembly's Forum to just make his 1 minute concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President. For us, is that we think it is very important as county assemblies so that we are able to move together with the governors, that we have this, especially at this time of recovery from COVID, that we get these quarterly reports on financial and non-financial reporting, on local revenue receivers reports, so that we are able to share the same vision as we are able to fight with this pandemic. Finally, and most importantly, is that we are doing very good budgets. We are also doing very good blueprints and white papers, but implementation is a very, very serious issue. we need to free the procurement regime and ensure departmental implementation of the budget. And that is the only way our people will be able to see quick results.
Thank you very much. Good insights right there. Let this not just be a talk shop. Let this not just be another beautiful paper written in beautiful English. And just to recap the points from various speakers, from the chair, you could see there's a lot of work going on in terms of partnerships to benefit the SME sector. He spoke a little bit about market development and what the chamber is doing on training, and also urged us to think about more into local manufacturing. From the County Assembly's forum, they have given us their priority areas and areas that we would see them putting in more money going forward. Health sector came first, agriculture sector also ranked second, water and sanitation, and finally the issue of education. It was interesting to hear the County Assembly's forum saying that it's important to also audit how far we are with the pandemic, and in terms of how far the ramifications have been on the local economies, so that they're able to plan adequately going forward. From the National Treasury, interesting remarks right there when he said the shilling is not weakening, it is the dollar that is strengthening. Now, it's a little bit of a chicken and egg story right there, but I think we'll take it offline. Interesting remarks coming from the National Treasury, saying, talking about the shortfall in terms of revenue, and talking about the economic stimulus program. He was very guarded about what to expect in the next fiscal year in terms of the priority areas, but we want to imagine that those priority areas will be aligned with the county government's priority areas. Governor Ngilu, extremely passionate about local manufacturing, saying this is the direction that we need to go as a country to be able to rebuild and reinvigorate this economy, reduce the imports. Governor Ngilu says have a plan, short-term, medium, and long-term, on the unemployment that we are all facing. Prioritize the health sector. Governor Ngilu says, let us also work on changing our mindset. The Senate's key priority areas are also aligned to county government. Key priority areas, which is health, they have told us what they're doing in terms of developing legislative framework, especially that of the PPP. There's a joke that is told around about the connotation of PPP, and they say that PPP stands for Perpetually Pending Project. So we hope that there will be legislation to be able to, so that it just doesn't become, it's something we've talked about for a very long time, so that it actually will stand for public-private partnerships. The impact on the health sector, according to Senate, has been able to be looked at. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am really, my boss is right there telling me you'd really have to conclude this. But as I conclude, let me say this. When you go through uncertain times and uncertain times like we are right now, usually there is, you have three options.
We really have to stop.
There are three options. The first option, this is the last thing I'm going to say. The first option that we have is to give up. The second option is to give in. The third option is to give it all it takes. And based on today's conversation, this morning's conversation, you can tell that...
Thank you, DG, and the panelists. I'm sorry, I do have to cut you short, so that, tafadhali, let us appreciate this wonderful, wonderful panel. We gave them an incredibly difficult task to do in no time at all. Asanteni sana sana. Thank you, and I really apologize for rushing you. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic, Your Excellency, Governors, ladies and gentlemen, please let us appreciate our panelists once more. And as we do so, allow me to invite the next set of speakers to the stage, please. And I think that our staff, if you have sanitizers, please, can you assist us at the front here? So allow me to invite the resident representative of the UNDP to the stage, Mr. Walid Bawadi. Karibu sana. Allow me also to invite the Deputy High Commissioner, the British Deputy High Commissioner, Mr. Julius Scott, to the stage. Also, allow me to invite Professor Anyang' Nyong, His Excellency Governor of Kisumu. Allow me also then to invite, if they could sit, tafadhali, in the order of that we shall speak, in the order that I'm calling you to the stage. Let me invite the CS for Devolution, the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, as well as the Speaker of the Senate, the Honorable Kenneth Lusaka. So, first up is the UN resident representative. You can speak either sitting or at the podium here. Karibu Warid Bawadi. Welcome.
Governor Murithi, Your Excellency, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Ruto, Honorable Governor Oparanya, the Chair of the Council of Governors, the Speaker of the Senate, Mr. Kenneth Lusaka, governors here present with us, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, CS Devolution and ASAL. PS is present. The development partners that are here today, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, and other development partners. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Let me say that it is really with profound solidarity and a strong sense of partnership that I stand before you on behalf of the UN system in Kenya ahead of today's launch of the County COVID-19 Socioeconomic Reengineering and Recovery Strategy. I also speak partially today on behalf of the Devolution Donor Group, as UNDP is co-chair. The United Kingdom, who will be also speaking, is the chair. And the Devolution Donor Group not only coordinates its devolution support across all counties, its members have supported the Council of Governors since its inception and looks forward to a strong and continued partnership. The UN system in Kenya's partnership with the Council of Governors began at inception and continues strong to this day. I do wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the COG on today's groundbreaking ceremony for their new headquarters. It will serve as a more than an office building, but also a symbol of devolution strength and service to the people of Kenya. Indeed, an iconic venue. Ladies and gentlemen, today the world faces an unprecedented threat from COVID-19. For the first time since measurement began, UNDP's Human Development Index is on a course to decline in 2020. The impact of COVID-19 will reverberate across the Sustainable Development Goals and reverse hard-won developmental gains. Addressing these losses means recovery from COVID-19 must take a different path from the previous global development trajectory. The pandemic has made our pledge to leave no one behind and to reach those furthest behind first much more difficult to achieve. Together, nonetheless, we have a chance to turn one of the greatest reversals of human development of our lifetime into a historic leap forward to a sustainable, inclusive, peaceful, and resilient future with the Sustainable Development Goals as our compass. With up to 100 million more people being pushed into extreme poverty in 2020, 1.4 billion children affected by school closures, overwhelmed health and social services, and record level unemployment and loss of livelihoods, especially among women who constitute over 70% of low-wage earners, it is clear that choices made today could be the tipping point that transform our societies and our planet for the better. On the global level, and indeed here in Kenya, the UN system is supporting governments in the response to the pandemic, and we mobilized early to comprehensively save lives, control the spread of the virus, and ease the economic fallout. The UN has led on the health response, provided life-saving humanitarian assistance, psychosocial and economic support to the most vulnerable, established instruments for rapid responses to the socioeconomic impact, provided evidence-based and sex-disaggregated data, and laid out a broad policy agenda. As we are learning, collaboration is vital to battle a virus that affects all humanity indiscriminately. Although time is never on our side, in a swiftly moving pandemic, UN agencies and humanitarian partners have since the onset worked with the government of Kenya to take quick action to support communities in responding to the virus. The courage and sacrifice of the frontline workers, including doctors, nurses, midwives, police officers, and indeed volunteers across sectors, as they continue supporting those most vulnerable, is an inspiration to all of us. And tomorrow, as we celebrate International Volunteer Day, I do trust that we will take a moment to celebrate all of those heroes. There is no choice between addressing the health impact and the socioeconomic fallout from the pandemic. Unless we control the spread of the virus, the economy will never recover. The crisis requires each one of us to focus on the people, particularly the low-wage workers, small and medium enterprises, and the most vulnerable and marginalized, including women, youth, children, elderly, and those with disabilities, as again on the 3rd of December, we commemorate International Day of Disability. So together we must cushion the impact on people's lives, their livelihoods, and the economy by considering a scale-up of social protection initiatives and supporting SMEs to prevent bankruptcies and job losses, especially amongst the most vulnerable. The UN and its partners, in close collaboration with the government of Kenya, have developed the UN in Kenya COVID-19 socioeconomic response plan, and we have provided technical and financial support towards the government of Kenya's economic recovery strategy, and we heard about that strategy this morning, but we also provided support to the county COVID-19 socioeconomic re-engineering and recovery strategy. We are encouraged that these strategies provide an inclusive and urgent socioeconomic response based on some common themes which emphasize protecting health services and systems, scaling up social protection and basic services, protecting jobs and supporting SMEs and the most vulnerable productive sectors of society, enhancing social cohesion and community resilience. But importantly, all of these strategies and these recovery efforts are greener, are bluer, and certainly not browner. And they do embrace innovation and technology as critical enablers for building forward better. So the launch of the County COVID-19 Socioeconomic Reengineering and Recovery Strategy signifies a step in the right direction in coordinating all of our efforts and contributions in dealing with the crisis and preventing its escalation and ensuring that Kenya does build forward better and leaving no one behind. Ladies and gentlemen, drawing on lessons learned in an ever-changing environment that requires a contextualized and flexible approach, we are confident that the County COVID-19 Recovery Strategy will support Kenya's response in addressing the negative impacts on the country from this pandemic. In line with the UN Secretary General's call on my organization, UNDP, As the technical lead on the COVID-19 socioeconomic response and recovery, we will continue to work closely under the leadership of the UN Resident Coordinator and together with the UN country team in responding to the requests to implement these strategies as and when the government of Kenya demands of us. I want to thank our development partners who have swiftly responded to our call for an effective engagement through flexible financing to support this national response. And here I want to thank the governments of Sweden, Finland, and Italy who have supported the UN Joint Devolution Program together with our sister agencies, UNICEF and UN Women, but also the government of Japan, who has provided critical support. So on behalf of the UN family in Kenya, let me reaffirm our commitment to this fight. We will win this war together, and I thank you all for your attention. Asanteni.
Thank you very much indeed. UN Resident Representative, may I invite, you can speak either from your seat or at the podium as you choose, the Deputy High Commissioner from Britain, Julius Court. Karibuni. May I also request Governor Kifudha Kibwana, who will do the appreciation, to also join the team on stage. Asanteni. Please, we must try and restrict ourselves to about 4 minutes for the obvious reasons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor, and Your Excellency, Deputy President, Your Excellency, Governor Oparanya, the Chair of the Council of Governors, Your Excellency, the Senate Speaker, all the other CSs, all the other governors, deputy governors, all the PSs, fellow colleagues from the international community, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Kwanza nataka kusema hongera. Nataka kusema asante. And I want to say congratulations because although this country has been faced with an immense challenge with COVID, I think we've seen such a robust response. We've seen an incredibly robust health response. I think as PS Muya was outlining, we've seen a really impressive economic response, you know, given a very, very tough challenge. And I think we've seen a very impressive COVID responses, a social response to COVID. So whether it's from churches, community groups, yourselves leading your communities, it's been deeply impressive. And I think from the international community and to each and every one of you and all the people you represent, congratulations again. I wanted to say thank you because we're partners in this endeavor with you. And I want to thank you for that partnership, again, on behalf of the UK, but also on behalf of the international community. We have seen a level of partnership, I think, sort of unseen. When the challenge has come, we have also, I think, together risen to that challenge. And I want to reassure you on behalf of the UK that we will continue to stand with you at this challenging time. And I know all my other colleagues in the international community feel exactly that same way. Whether it's in central government, the response, our partnership there, whether it's with the counties, and whether it's with all the other partners, with the private sector and the groups. It's only together and in that spirit of partnership that we will make progress against COVID. So colleagues, let's not pretend that we're at the end of this. We're not. There's a lot of work to do on the prevention side. There's a lot of work to do on the response. But that spirit of partnership will take us a long way to an effective response. As co-chair of the donor group on devolution, I do want to say something about devolution. One of the privileges of my job is that I get to travel around this great country, and wherever you go, you see the response that's come because of devolution. You see the progress that's been made, and we celebrate that. And I think that one of the great things about devolution and events like this, you can also learn so much from each other. We're all struggling with the same challenges, and every county I go to is making progress, but it's also learning from its neighbors and from its colleagues. So that's a terrific thing. And again, you will not find a stronger partner, you will not find a stronger supporter on devolution than the UK. And again, I know colleagues in the group feel exactly the same way. Colleagues, perhaps the most important thing I want to say is about the spirit with which I see around this country, and the spirit which I think is embodying the work today. We're very proud partners in preparing and launching the strategy, but it's the spirit of delivery that really enthuses me, and that I think we should really focus on. When you go around this country, you can't help but be stunned by that spirit of entrepreneurship, the can-do attitude. And I just want to give a few examples of that. So last month, I was privileged to be up in Isiolo, and we were launching an innovation hub. We weren't standing back because of the crisis. We weren't waiting. We did it very carefully, but we launched the innovation hub with the UNDP, with the governor there. In your county, Governor, in Laikipia, I spent a lot of time talking to teachers and visiting schools and seeing how they were preparing so that the children can go back. There's no more important thing than our children's education. So it's really important to see these examples of where people are responding with that can-do spirit to get ready, to keep going, even though the time is challenging. I was very privileged to be in Kisumu a couple of days ago, and the governor and I were looking at the economic issues there. We were looking about how it responds to gender-based violence, and really interestingly about visiting the Lake Hub. Again, the future, the innovation in this country, those young people harnessing their ideas in the response. Very, very impressive. And then finally, I can't forget C.S. Wamalwa and I were in Kisii together with the governor there, launching the plan for Kisii's urban renewal. Again, not waiting, not holding back, doing it safely, but getting on with helping the country and the counties to build back stronger. So I think it's that spirit of mindset, it's that spirit of entrepreneurship, it's that spirit of drive, it's all those kinds of things that will help us get through this crisis and help Kenya to build back stronger. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Deputy High Commissioner of the UK to Kenya, Asante Sana. I want to invite to the podium, I don't know if you have the sanitizer, Professor of Political Economy, Governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang'. We will allow him maybe 1.5 extra minutes because he will explain to us the content of the recovery strategies for each of the counties. Karibu sana, Governor Anyang'.
Thank you very much, Neritu. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Dr. William Sumei Ruto, Your Excellency, Umwami Eugene Wamalwa, Minister for Devolution and Industrial Areas, and Your Excellency Wycliffe Oparanya, our Chairman of the Council of Governors, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, before I give this very brief summary of what the economic recovery strategies are for the counties, I'd like to thank very much my colleague Neritu Muridhi and Professor Kivuta Kibwana, with whom we worked very closely with the Secretariat of the Council and KIPRA to make this project possible. The outbreak of COVID-19 is an eye-opener on our levels of preparedness for pandemics and calamities that may threaten the existence of our society. If county, I think this movement signifies something.
It does, unfortunately, but I would suggest that Professor Anyang' continues. The party that has gone to will receive the head of state, and as you conclude, he will proceed to the presentation.
Okay.
I would suggest so, Professor.
If county borders and restricted movement of goods and persons all over the world were to remain in place for much longer, one important question each county would ask is for how long each society would survive. Thus, exploiting opportunities for enhanced self-reliance becomes essential for survival of societies. This study, undertaken by the COG with technical input by KIPRA and the support of our development partners, the Development Support Group, the Devolution Support Group, represented here by my friend Julius and Walid, has taken into account the tremendous effects of COVID-19 on our economy and society. We have noted the opportunities that emerged for innovation in the various sectors of our economy, challenging us in government to encourage and support the innovators from now on. This could as well be the foundation for building a more resilient society and economy capable of better withstanding such pandemics in the future. With COVID-19, we have seen the importance of having, one, a well-functioning healthcare system to serve the population, two, a proper functioning medical research to develop vaccines, three, good planning of our cities, transport systems, education system, and housing to offer services in the midst of the pandemic, notwithstanding the threat of being left alone with the closure of international transport highways. Four, we have also seen the importance of a good government system for continued provision of public service in difficult times, proper utilization of resources for longevity of our societies, and socioeconomic equality in securing livelihood. The pandemic therefore highlights the need, one, to promote innovations and adopt modern technologies in the path to enhancing self-reliance. Our young population showcased their capabilities with innovations to help in responding to the pandemic. It takes our commitment as government to nurture innovations by re-energizing our institutions of technical training, science, technology, and engineering to maintain the momentum for innovation to the level of being commercialized. Further, this also presents an opportunity for our research and policy institutions to relook at the kind of innovation model the county and counties require in economic transformation. Studies on economic recovery strategies have shown that counties are vital for the growth of the nation as frontiers for investments. Deliberate investments should be focused in the areas of food production, targeting the weak and vulnerable smallholder actors in the value chain battered by the effects of coronavirus, whose capacities must be developed and strengthened. The county COVID-19 engineering and recovery strategy provides the following opportunities for the citizens of our various county governments in different sectors. One, in health. Proactivity addressing the mental health needs, including those of the health workforce. Two, legislating and equipping community health workers and community health volunteers to adequately provide community health and counseling and appropriate maternal. That's really possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
I think we let him arrive.
Yeah.
And then
We conclude.
We conclude
Yeah.
when he's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's perhaps is more interesting to you than me. So we'll have a health break.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me hand over to Deputy Director of State Functions. We will conclude when he comes.
Niombe sote tusimame tafadhali kwa wimbo wa taifa. Tumpongeze Mheshimiwa Rais kwa makofi anapojiunga nasi, na ataelekezwa sasa katika alama na alwani ambazo ziko tayari kwa ajili ya mjengo huu wa leo.
Have offices for all the liaison offices for the county governments and independent commissions. Yeah. And just the special of the office. You see, and there's a very special club at the end there, sir, which you may like to frequent. Will be at the 50th floor. Yes. Yes. Ziko nani? It's a hotel. It's a 5-star hotel, sir. Oh. Yes. From the 30th floor upwards is a hotel, and we will be selling the spaces, the residences. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Now the model, still part of the kule juu. This is juu. Utakuwa observatory yuko mbili. Yeah. The G is the executive club for former governors and governors, presidents. Right. Sir, you can change the name. Executive order. Now, here, Your Excellency, we have now the entire model. That is the library we are dedicating to you, sir, by the governors.
You are just joining us. We have been bringing to you this live coverage of the groundbreaking ceremony for the G47 Ugatuzi Tower that is being spearheaded today by His Excellency the President, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. He's here to just sort of lead the governors in this very important event that is coming to you live on KBC Channel 1. My name is Safin Aching Ouma. Now, today, the 4th of December 2020, we'll also see the President unveil something that will assist in the COVID-19 post-recovery program when it comes to the economic challenges that the country has faced courtesy of this pandemic. The President today is going to sort of lead the nation in coming up with a strategy document that will help the nation move forward post-COVID-19. Counties have been advised to go a step ahead in making sure that all the proposals contained in this document are implemented. Of course, it is a document that also seeks to see the social aspect of the society. It is the socio-economic re-engineering recovery strategy for counties when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic. The President has just arrived at the venue. He was received by the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution and Asals, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, and of course the Chair of the Council of Governors, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who are currently taking him through some of the proposed, structures for the building that is supposed to be set up, the G47. The G47 tower, and right now we just want to hand you over back to the function so that you can be able to follow in on what is happening.
This is Singapore. Our equivalent scheme, county central. Yes, yeah. So, you have found the right partner, sir. So this is the lab which was originally started in 1920s as Nairobi Municipalities Memorial Fund. Now this fund has a very special significance to you, sir. And I want you to look at a gift we are giving you in memory of your father. He used to work with the city council.
Right, it is a function that is coming to you live from Hurlingham right here in Nairobi. Today is a very important day for the counties because in a few months from now they are going to be having their own tower, their own building where they're going to set up their offices. This is known as the G47 Ugatuzi Tower that is going to help them in terms of their coordination and also just running of the affairs of the counties as they're going to be working under one umbrella as the 47 counties. Now, talking about what is happening today, of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be leading the official groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of that tower to commence. But of course, aside from that, it's a function that is going to see the president also launch the county COVID-19 socio-economic re-engineering and recovery strategy. Earlier, there was a panel discussion among some of the key stakeholders from the county governments, just sort of, giving an opportunity and a platform for the county governments to, discuss further and look deeper into some of the issues that counties have had to deal with during this COVID-19 pandemic. And there were quite a number of useful proposals that came forth from that discussion, with the panelists actually just encouraging that COVID-19 indeed has taught the country many lessons, and it is time for the country to change its strategy in how it is managing some of the economic and social issues. And there was a serious need for support of local innovations in the country, so that going forward, COVID-19, as we have seen, has really affected the way of life in so many ways and proven that technology is something that the country cannot do without. So during this discussion and even in this forum, one of the things that actually are coming out quite clearly is the fact that there is need to really invest more and support local innovations. Counties like Kitui have been hailed this morning for being in the forefront in some of these technological aspects, and also, just coming forth and spearheading the war against COVID-19 by looking at local solutions for local problems, because it is one of the counties that have been on the front line in production of some of the necessary, I would say, products that are needed in the war against COVID-19, talking about face masks and hand sanitizers and soaps through the Kikotech company. And of course, looking also at some of the other proposals, there is need also for funds to be channeled to the counties to support research and development in some of these issues. So going forward, there's going to be also the need to embrace telemedicine and just to help doctors also in terms of delivering on their mandate and of course just accessing more patients who may even be in remote areas, because looking at a time when we are having a shortage of healthcare workers who are needed at this particular time, telemedicine can actually go a long way in helping even just one doctor to be able to, serve many patients who may be in different locations at a time. Now, there was also a proposal on the need for counties to work together with the private sector going forward in addressing some of these issues and also in implementing this socio-economic strategy going forward. All right, so we just following up on what is happening, and currently right now the president is being taken through some of the plans for the project that is currently supposed to be kicking off right after this groundbreaking ceremony. So Governor Wycliffe Oparanya and the Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa are currently just taking him and explaining more about what this project entails and how it is going to transform the running of affairs of the counties. After that, he's going to be taking his position at the podium and just to continue with what has been going on since morning. The only thing that is standing out right now is how the country has come together during this particular time just to fight this pandemic. As a nation, 47 counties have implemented different programs, different efforts that have really assisted in the war against COVID-19, and also looking at how Kenyans have really suffered the harsh economic times. And there was a discussion on what different counties have been able to do just to sort of cushion Kenyans who have lost their livelihoods. Something that one of the panelists mentioned was the fact that those who lost their jobs, most of them, just had no option but to go back to their rural areas, and counties had a very big challenge of trying to find a way of coming up with strategies and programs to ensure that these families that lost their sources of livelihoods, most of them were in urban areas and they lost their jobs and they had to go back home in their rural areas, actually have a way of even just getting what they can eat at the end of the day and just finding a way in which they can go by as the days progresses. So this is actually a very important forum that is also providing an opportunity for counties to learn from each other in what they've been able to do so far in the war against COVID-19 and the mitigation measures, and even what they plan post-COVID-19. So they're sharing ideas and discussing the gaps and some of the things that ought to be done to fill these gaps. And at the end of the day, not just they will come out of this place with a clearer perspective on how the problem has been and how better to manage it going forward, looking at what has worked for other counties and what they can be able to implement in this particular, to eradicate this particular pandemic, and also to just manage some of the consequences that have come with it. Currently, the president is actually, as I speak, being taken through the official groundbreaking ceremony, of the 47 Ugatuzi Tower, and this is actually just giving a green light for the construction to begin. It is a very major milestone for the county governments and the Council of Governors, something that is going to really help them just have a building that will be very pivotal in the running of the business and the running of the affairs of all the 47 counties. He's currently making his way to the podium, joining the function that is happening in Hurlingham right here in Nairobi, being accompanied there by the Council of Governors Chair, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, and the Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa. He's now going to be officially launching the economic recovery strategy for the counties questions, and then I'll just right away hand you over to the function.
Asante sana. Tuombe. Almighty and everlasting God, we are humbled to come before thee this morning to seek your face and embrace your favor. Dear Lord, we lay before you the Republic of Kenya, our beloved motherland, a country that today is ravaged by COVID-19, O Lord. We pray, dear Master, that we can intervene and to give when the time when we walk this path, when we walk, you heal the sick. You raise the dead and heal the hope. We pray that this day, as we commit ourselves in this nation unto you, O Lord, you will remember what we can do that. We commit the leadership of this nation led by our Excellency, and this day, with all of us that are gathered in this place, O Lord, continue to hold us by the right hand, give us the Lord's wisdom and courage to be able to do this work of our Father and all the path of righteousness, dear Lord, the honor and glory of your name. Master, we are gathered here today to do a special duty, O Lord. Come and launch the G47 trials, O Lord, of which we dedicate unto you, O Lord. As we begin this day today, Lord God Almighty, we pray that you will walk with us at every step. You will give this council of governors a soul to remember, like we did to Moses, dear Lord, and we shall continue to say, you are in the word and you are walked with us. Please, by this to do this, with us, O Lord, guide us in every way, and once we come to the end, we will be very good at it. We are going to glorify you.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Mwenyekiti Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais Daktari William Ruto, mkisha tambuzi za zote na kuzidishia. Mheshimiwa Rais, nikubalie mwalike wa Waziri wetu wa Ugatuzi na sehemu za barabara na kavu, Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa, atuongoze kwa kipindi kinachosasa. Karibu Waziri.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Excellencies, Governors present, our development partners, ladies and gentlemen. We're very, very happy to be here today. First of all, to witness the groundbreaking of an iconic building that is going to be the tallest building, not just in Kenya, not just in East Africa, but in Africa. Hongera. For us as the Devolution family, Your Excellency, we are very, very delighted that you could find time to be with us here today. And it's a great day for Devolution. This building, we want to thank CPF, we want to thank Lab Trust, Bwana Akili, I don't know where he is. This is the CEO, Your Excellency, the Chair, Lab Trust. We had our Chair, and the members, the trustees. We want to thank you and to congratulate you and to thank COG for the consultations that have taken place to make this day a possibility. Indeed, we've had challenges as the Devolution family scattered all over the country in enforcing what Article 6 puts in place, that the two levels of government shall work together in consultation, in cooperation, in collaboration. I believe with one roof for the Devolution family being laid today, we will be able to come closer, to consult even more closely, to cooperate and to collaborate more closely. We know that the COG has been housed in Westlands due to regular meetings we've had, coming from my ministry office in CBD all the way to Westlands. Sometimes it takes about an hour, but we have been offered a building, actually a floor in this building. So my entire ministry will be joining you here also, so that we can work even more closely together. So I look forward to joining you here, and I want to also thank you, Your Excellency, for working closely with the governors. Today we are not just groundbreaking and laying the foundation stone for this building, We are also launching the recovery strategy. As you came in, His Excellency Governor Nyomo was taking us through. Allow me, Your Excellency, to just adjust the program briefly. We're going to make it a very brief program so that we can invite him to just tell us exactly why we are here, what the recovery strategy is post-COVID that the governors have come up with, working very closely with the national government. We also have that strategy. And our development partners, particularly the UN family, want to thank Walid. We know that you have extended support to development of this strategy plan. We want to appreciate you, the UK government, we want to thank you, and the EU. We want to thank all of you for the support you've given us. Then after that, I will request Governor Nyomo to now complete that, and we get the Chair COG, Governor of Paranya, to now tell us more about what you're doing here today, before we get His Excellency the Deputy President to invite you, Your Excellency. But allow me, before we get Nyomo and Governor of Parliament to come, to thank you for the support you have given to Devolution. To also thank the planners of this building. In that plan, there is a museum on devolution. So we will not just be celebrating devolution today, we'll also be celebrating the history of devolution. And that museum is going to show the journey of devolution, where we started, where we are, and where we're going. And I believe when that history is written, Your Excellency, indeed, Kenya and Africa is going to realize that the devolution journey started with you as the first president who oversaw the birth of devolution in this country, who has actually nurtured devolution in this country, and who is in the process, through the Building Bridges initiative, of strengthening devolution in this country, Your Excellency. That will be part of our history, that will be part of the museum. And I must thank Kili, the CEO. He has remembered your father. The late Jomo Kenyatta was also a member, though he has confessed that they never paid him his dues. So we will be asking him in the course of these proceedings for him to present to you a plaque and a commitment that you will be receiving a check which will kindly request you to ensure it reaches Her Excellency Mama Ngina Kenyatta. So let me call Governor Nyong'o. Please come briefly. And Nyong'o, you will remember, he was one of the great brains behind the economic recovery strategy. As during the NAC government, he did a great job, and he will be telling us what the governors are now planning to do going forward. Thank you. Karibu, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, my friend Omwami Eugene Wamalwa, Minister for Devolution. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, just an aside, while you are going around there being shown what is happening in counties, Professor Kivutha Kibwana were backbiting you. And he said that he noticed that your wardrobe is full of very nice shirts. Can you introduce us to your tailor? Your Excellency, I want to thank my two colleagues, Governor Nderitu Murithi of Laikipia and Governor Kivutha Kibwana of Makueni, with whom we worked very hard with our staff and Kipra and our devolution, our partner group led by Walid and Julius here this morning to make possible this economic strategy, economic recovery strategy for counties post-COVID. The outbreak of COVID-19 is an eye-opener on our levels of preparedness for pandemics and calamities that may threaten the existence of our society. If county borders and restricted movement of goods and persons all over the world were to remain in place for much longer, one important question each country would ask is for how long each society would survive. Thus, exploiting opportunities for enhanced self-reliance becomes essential for survival of societies. This study, Your Excellency, undertaken by the Council of Governors with technical input by Kipra and the support of our development partners, the Development Support Group, has taken into account the tremendous effects of COVID-19 on our economy and society. We have noted, Your Excellency, the opportunities that emerge for innovation in the various sectors of the economy, challenging us in government to encourage and support the innovators from now on. This could as well be the foundation for building a more resilient society and economy capable of better withstanding such pandemics in the future. With COVID-19, Your Excellency, we have seen the importance of having the following. One, a well-functioning healthcare system to serve the population. Two, a proper functioning medical research to develop vaccines. Three, good planning of our cities, transport systems, education system, and housing to offer services in the midst of the pandemic, notwithstanding the threat of being left alone with the closure of international transport highways. And finally, we have also seen the importance of a good government system for continued provision of public service in difficult times, proper utilization of resources for the longevity of our societies, and socio-economic equality in securing livelihood. The pandemic, Your Excellency, therefore highlights the need for the following. One, to promote innovations and adopt modern technologies in their path to enhancing self-reliance. Our young population showcased their capabilities with innovations to help in responding to the pandemic. Two, it takes our commitment as government to nurture innovations by re-energizing our institutions to relook at the kind of innovation model that counties require in economic transformation. Your Excellency, studies on economic recovery strategies in general have shown that counties are vital for the growth of the nation as frontiers for investments. Deliberate investment should be focused in the areas of food production, targeting the weak and vulnerable smallholder actors in the value chain battered by the effects of coronavirus, whose capacities must be developed and strengthened. The county COVID-19 re-engineering and recovery strategy provides the following opportunities for the citizen of our various county governments in different sectors. In health, Your Excellency, one, proactivity addressing the mental health needs, including those of the health workforce. Two, legislating and equipping community health workers or volunteers and community health volunteers to adequately provide community health and counseling on appropriate maternal, infant, and young child nutrition practices amidst the pandemic. Three, ensuring that the health system as a whole is well-resourced to withstand not just pandemics, but the delivery of healthcare system in general. In education, Your Excellency, we note the following. One, to protect the poorest and most vulnerable learners and enable them to continue learning, such as through targeted conditional cash transfers and learning vouchers. Your Excellency, there's a very interesting innovation in Busia County, where Busia, through their fish cage farming, has linked that farming to poor households whose children are paid for in school by the proceeds of fish cage farming. Two, strengthening collaboration between county and non-state, not-for-profit institutions, including faith-based organizations in delivery of pre-primary education across counties. In agriculture, Your Excellency, we have noted the following. Enhancing agro-processing and value addition capacities of counties by adopting appropriate regulations, policies, and legislations. Two, facilitating access to affordable formal finance and advisory and information services. And three, training and building capacity of farmers on modern agricultural technologies including by integrating best practices and ensuring that extension service is properly resourced and institutionalized. In the area of social protection, Your Excellency, we noted the following: supporting businesses' success credit guarantee program for people whose occupations or employments have been disrupted by the pandemic. 2, using the opportunity to continue efforts to review the more expansive and inclusive safety nets. And 3, ensuring effective access to essential healthcare and other basic social services for population groups and individuals who have been drawn into vulnerability due to the pandemic. Your Excellency, in the area of gender and youth, we noted the following: the need to strengthen inclusive community outreach strategies to ensure gender-based violence messaging is localized and clear, and addresses stigma, discrimination, and other power dynamics that serve as barriers to accessing gender-based violence services and COVID-19 information among differently able persons, otherwise called in local parlance, people with disabilities. And 2, designating gender-safe spaces to provide accommodation for gender-based violence survivors and create space in county referral hospital to serve as gender-based recovery centers, gender-based violence recovery centers. Your Excellency, in the area of urban development and housing, as you saw today, the example of what the CPF partners in other countries do, we noted the need to promote a national home ownership policy. This would cushion households from future shocks that impede payment of rent. 2, fast-tracking affordable housing in counties through provision of public land to improve housing conditions and improving the turnaround period for transactions for land and construction. Your Excellency, let me also note here that although the National Housing Corporation was developed at a time that model of providing housing was most appropriate, I think we need to relook at the National Housing Corporation and how it is acting now as an impediment to urban renewal in counties. Your Excellency, urban development and housing is a very important issue, and as CPF demonstrates today, pension funds will play and have to play a critical role in transforming urban renewal in our country. Your Excellency, with regard to transport, we need to develop better synergies between car, bus, rail, non-motorized transport, and between public and private transport, and select the most environmentally friendly solutions. In this regard, Your Excellency, we need to control carbon gas emission by the otherwise very useful motorbikes in our cities. It has been demonstrated, Your Excellency, that one motorbike produces as much carbon gas emission as a 10-ton lorry. So just imagine how quickly our urban centers are going to be polluted if we don't improve on that and change the manner of power we use for propelling motorbikes. 2, use of labor-based and local resource-based approaches for road development and maintenance, since road construction has become a very expensive item in county budgets. Regarding tourism, Your Excellency, this is my last point. Faced with the lockdown of cross-border movements by air, land, or water, Kenyans have learned the value of domestic tourism. Counties are challenged to capitalize on this by investing in various products that can grow this sector. 2, diversifying tourism products across all counties to include cultural, sports, agro-tourism, mines, nature-based, community-based, adventure, culinary and beach-based tourism products, jetties and floating facilities, amusement parks, construction and development of public beaches. Your Excellency, the green space in urban areas is a very important element for encouraging tourism across our nation. And we are challenged to capitalize on this by investing in various products
that can grow this sector. 2, diversifying tourism products in our nation and ensuring that these products are known to our people, as I mentioned. And 3, allocating resources for investment and rehabilitation of tourism supporting infrastructure, including sports stadia, and I thank Your Excellency for the interest you have taken in this. My county is a beneficiary of this advisory. Modern meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, venues, and roads leading to the physical tourist attraction sites, including cultural heritage sites. Your Excellency, thank you so much for coming in time for my speech. I am grateful. Governor Prof, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. And Your Excellency, as I say, the entire Devolution family is here today. And when I talk about the Devolution family, Your Excellency, it starts with you as the chair of the summit. You are really the father of devolution, having laid the foundation stone for devolution in this country. And the deputy president is a member of the family of devolution as the chair IBEC. We are very happy to have him here. The speaker and the Senate as the protectors of devolution are members of this family. We're very happy to have him here. Our county assemblies are very critical members of the devolution family, and we are very, very happy that we have the chair, CAF, around, that you could just mutambue. Yes, he's over there as the chair, CAF, and IGRTC, Banaburugu, who is the acting chair, is here with us, and the entire team is here, Your Excellency. And on their behalf, allow me to adjust the program just for a minute for the speaker to greet us on behalf of the other stakeholders. Speaker, karibu tafadhali.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Chair of the Council of Governors, Honorable Iji Wamalwa. Mine is just to say, Your Excellency, I stand here with a lot of nostalgia, having been one of the founding governors in this republic. What we are witnessing today were some of the thoughts that we had that time, and I'm happy, and even the economic bloc concept, I'm happy that those who took over from us, and I want to thank the chair and the entire governors who are here, that they have been able to progress this. I just want to encourage you that this is the way to go. We will continue supporting you as the Senate. Of course, our work is oversight, and I have tried to ensure that we carry out our oversight in an objective manner, having been a governor, and this time really from this other side. Your Excellency, thank you so much for honoring this function. It's one of the greatest functions, I think, in the devolution family. So you can count on us as Senate. We will continue supporting you with those few remarks. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Speaker Lusaka. And now, Your Excellency, I want to bring the Chair COG. And as he comes, Your Excellency, I want to appreciate the leadership of Governor Oparanya. Indeed, during this crisis of coronavirus, we've come to realize the importance of intergovernmental relations. And indeed, when we are talking about intergovernmental relations, it is the glue that holds together the devolution family. It is the oxygen of devolution. And we have seen this working very well during this pandemic. And intergovernmental relations are at an all-time best. We want to thank the leadership of Governor Oparanya. He just recently came from Dar es Salaam, Your Excellency. So don't be surprised when I introduce him differently as Dr. FCPA Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. He has just completed his PhD in that. And I think he'll be joining Dr. William Ruto. And Your Excellency, I'm also trying very hard to complete my PhD. Don't be surprised to see Dr. Eugene Wamalos. Karibu, Your Excellency, Governor Oparanya.
Your Excellency, Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, Deputy President, fellow Excellency Governors present, Deputy Governors present, CS Eugene Wamalwa, Permanent Secretary present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if now good morning. Before I deliver my brief speech, I want just to acknowledge some of the people who have come here. First, we could not accommodate all the governors. Most of the governors are attending this meeting virtually, but we have allowed in few to come because of the COVID protocols that we have. So let me just, first of all, acknowledge the former governors who are here. Dr. Kidero, I saw you around. Thank you for coming. Ambassador Dado, thank you for coming. Speaker of the Senate, Saka, the former governor. Now, deputy governors who are here, can you stand? You just, those are the four deputy governors. And then the governors themselves. If you can stand. Those are the few ones who managed to come and attend this meeting. The rest are attending this meeting virtually. We have apology from Governor Nyoro, the governor of Kiambu. He lost his brother. The burial is today, so he could not be with us. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Council of Governors, I take this opportunity to express our gratitude to His Excellency the President for gracing this occasion of groundbreaking ceremony of G47 Ukatuzi Towers. The G is just for governance, 47 government. And launch the county COVID-19 socio-economic re-engineering and recovery strategy. Since devolution, it has been our desire to enhance coordination of county government's activities under one roof. Today marks the beginning of the actualization to fulfill this desire by groundbreaking a magnificent devolution headquarters, which will have 50 floors to accommodate Council of Governors offices, county satellite offices, county assembly forum offices, and the Ministry of Devolution and its related state agencies, such as IKR, RTC, CRA, and Controller of Budget, among others. The central icon feature of this tower is the Devolution Museum, which, with your permission, Your Excellency, the governors has proposed to name it Uhuru Kenyatta Devolution Museum. This is to signify your commitment to devolution during your tenure as the President. Your Excellency, we humbly request for your involvement of your office in designing the museum to capture the devolution journey from the national to county perspective. In light of this, the Council of Governors proposes establishment of a joint coordination team involving the Council and the Office of the President. The Ukatuzi Towers does not in any way promote movement of service from the grassroots, but rather it seeks to provide an opportunity for quick national consultation, vertically and horizontally. We laud the County Pension Fund for partnering with the Council to finance this project. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the county governments have also come up with a county COVID-19 social, economic, reengineering and recovery strategy, and I think Professor Anyang'o has taken us through, that will support the economies of counties to bounce back from impact of the COVID-19. The strategy encompasses 5 pillars. 1, boosting private sector. 2nd, enhancing ICT. 3rd, human resource development. 4th, policy and legislative reforms. And lastly, disaster preparedness. The strategy will be implemented in 3 consecutive financial years, ending with 2022-2023. Cumulatively, the strategy will require a total budget of 132 billion Kenya shillings towards the recovery of county government economies. Part of the financing of this strategy will be appropriated from the county government's budgets and complemented through joint resources, mobilization with national government and development partners. This strategy is a living document that has been integrated in the review of county integrated development plan of all counties and annual development plans. It has also informed the ongoing process of supplementary budgets for the financial year 2020-2021. In implementing this strategy, we are optimistic that we shall be able to revive a considerable number of businesses that have since collapsed during this pandemic. Further, through these strategies, we are hopeful to have a robust recovery that will propel job creation and offer some gainful life for the citizens. Thank you and God bless you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for giving us that opportunity to hear from the chair. And we'll have a short video presentation before I invite His Excellency the Deputy President to address and invite you, Excellency. Thank you.
So my fellow Kenyans, on Friday, March 6th this year, the government of Kenya received confirmation of the first case of COVID-19, more commonly known as coronavirus.
The Council of Governors, during its brief to the public, highlighted some of the efforts that county governments have put in place to address the issue of COVID-19.
Now, the counties too would like to raise domestic revenue to finance their development. Many counties have established youth enterprise funds, women enterprise funds, and so on, so that to support local entrepreneurship.
As the country continues to face the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the county governments through the Council of Governors have found it necessary to develop a socio-economic reengineering and recovery strategy which will feed into the National Economic Recovery Strategy. This strategy provides guidance to the counties to bounce back from the effect of COVID-19 to recover and build a more resilient and sustainable economy. In responding to the pandemic, counties came up with county-specific COVID-19 prevention guidelines and strengthened community surveillance while implementing the COVID-19 prevention measures, including social distancing and general hygiene. Unity is strength, resoluteness is the essence of struggle. The collective response of both the national and county governments to this pandemic demonstrates the importance of interdependence of the two levels of government. Through a multi-pronged approach, they have remained steadfast to minimize the effect of the pandemic on the citizens. The Council of Governors extends its gratitude to the Re-Engineering and Recovery Committee as well as the development partners for their invaluable support during the development of the strategy. Special thanks to KIPRA for providing the technical lead throughout the preparation of these strategies. Pillars for county recovery and re-engineering strategies include boosting private sector activity. The county governments will improve the infrastructure and promote organization of the small and micro enterprises and create an enabling business environment at county level. Human capital development. The county governments will invest in technical education and skills development, extend the scope of universal health coverage, and promote community health and workplace safety. Policy, legislative, and institutional reforms. The county governments will review the Public Health Act, the Water Act, and the agriculture sector laws to provide further clarity in the assignment of functions, strengthening county governments' preparedness and response to pandemics and disasters. The county governments will develop a legal and regulatory framework necessary for the management of all disasters. Support to key sectors. Agriculture. Enhancing agro-processing, marketing, financing, uptake of technology and value chain capacities in all counties. Water and sanitation. Promote the importance of hand washing, expand, rehabilitate and reticulate the water infrastructure and embrace appropriate waste management technologies. Tourism. Diversify tourism products, enhance domestic tourism, and develop county-specific tourism information and data centers. Health. Proactively address the mental health needs, including those of the health workforce, and mainstream the role of community health volunteers within the healthcare system. Education. Support back-to-school campaigns, improve access to water, sanitation, and health services in learning institutions, and strengthen the delivery of early childhood and vocational training. Social protection. Provide counseling services, develop a comprehensive database for vulnerable persons, and ensure their access to affordable healthcare. Gender and youth. Support gender champions and strengthen inclusive community outreach to affirm the participation of women, youth, children, and persons living with disabilities to alleviate poverty and spur growth of the economy. Environment and natural resources management. The county governments to collaborate with other stakeholders in order to increase forest cover. Economic stimulus program. The economic stimulus package shall prioritize settlement of pending bills, financing and implementation of economic stimulus package. Resource mobilization for implementation of the economic stimulus shall entail collaborations between national and county governments and will require adequate financing over the fiscal years 2020 and 2021 to 2022 and 2023. Monitoring, evaluating and reporting. The COVID-19 re-engineering and recovery strategies will be reviewed quarterly, half-year and annually for 3 years by county governments to track the progress and implementation status.
Makofi jamani, that was a wonderful, wonderful video presentation. And may I now invite His Excellency the Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to address the congregation and invite His Excellency the President. Please.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, the Chair of the Council of Governors, Wycliffe Oparanya, the Speaker of the Senate, CS Eugene, Governors, Deputy Governors, PSS, Development Partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, this occasion is significant for two reasons. The groundbreaking ceremony here will give the Devolution family a building that will consolidate all the players that are involved in devolution in one building, thereby enhancing their efficiency and efficacy. And I want to thank the Council of Governors for believing in our professionals. Ordinarily, the Council of Governors would have tried to look for a plot somewhere to buy and then to struggle to build. But instead, they have chosen the right path. They have allowed professionals to build the building for them, and they can buy and continue with the management of our devolution units around the country. Your Excellency, this is significant because in this building, there will be offices for county governments, there will be liaison officers of the Treasury, there will be liaison officers of the ministries concerned, and it will make it, including KRA for that matter, it will make it that much more easy for devolution to succeed. And it will provide the paradigm shift that we've all been looking for a bottoms-up approach to our development than the old trickle-down. Your Excellency, the strategy that has been put together, the post-COVID re-engineering of socio-economic matters in our counties, has also tapped into the expertise of KIPRA. And I came here earlier and I listened to presenters, and the target of this strategy is to ensure that incentives, investment, programs are targeted at the grassroots, at the lowest possible units, which will give us the opportunity to ensure that the partnership between national and county governments, especially on matters of provision of water, on matters of housing, and on matters of agro-processing, value addition, and industrialization, there is a clear framework that is provided under this strategy for the partnership to make sure that we do not duplicate, but we synergize so that we can get results better, faster, and in a much more cost-effective manner. Again, let me congratulate the Council of Governors for coming up with this re-engineering strategy. Your Excellency, it is not in my place to speak more than that. It's now my very humble duty to request all of us to be upstanding. Your Excellency, the President, to make his remarks. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much, William. Please be seated. The chairperson of the Council of Governors, Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, Deputy President, Speaker of the Senate, governors here present, deputy governors, leaders of county assemblies, our development partners, good morning. Let me say it is truly a joyous day as we come together here this morning to witness the groundbreaking ceremony for this G47 Ungatuzi Tower. I believe a further step towards cementing the devolution agenda, and also a testament to the ever-growing collaboration and strengthening of partnerships between our two tiers of government. Let me also say that it is wonderful to also witness the partnership between the Council of Governors and the Pension Fund, meaning that resources that are available to the pension fund are being reinvested in strengthening our devolution agenda, while at the same time protecting the ultimate interest of all our devolution workers. So hongera, my friend. Pongezi sana. Pongezi kwako. I think that is wonderful. And asante sana kwa kukumbuka a water meter who used to roam these areas in the early 20s. Asanteni sana. Tunashukuru. Tunasema asanti. Let me also say that I am delighted and indeed very humbled to accept your offer, Chairperson, to name the museum that will be on this site after me, and I look forward to working with you and your team towards its development. Asante sana, nashukuru sana. Thank you. Today we also convene to witness the launch of the social economic strategy that will anchor our national effort to bounce back better and stronger from the negative impacts of COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, the outbreak and spread of COVID-19 pandemic and the measures taken to contain the spread of this virus have no doubt devastated not just our economy, but all global economies. Available estimates show that overall in 2020, the world economy will reduce by 4.4%, made up of a reduction in advanced economies of 5.8%, a reduction in emerging and developing economies of 3.8%, and in our own sub-Saharan Africa, a decline of 3%. Kenya's economy has also suffered the wrath of this pandemic, and it is estimated that we shall register a growth of 0.6% in 2020, and this is indeed a sharp drop from the growth of 5.4% that we had in 2019. This growth reduction largely reflects the negative growth in tourism and our hospitality sector, in education and the transport sectors, which crowded out the growth that we managed to register in agriculture, financial and insurance activities, construction and real estate development. So, ladies and gentlemen, we as leaders and policymakers at both the national and county government levels must grapple with a basic question. How can we best strike the delicate balance between the public health imperatives of combating COVID-19 on the one hand, and the need to secure livelihoods and economic vitality on the other? We must rethink our strategies and identify ways in which we can turn this moment of adversity into a moment of opportunity. How can we, as Kenya, bounce back better and stronger in a post-COVID-19 environment, taking advantage of the lessons, innovations, and resilience that this crisis has unearthed? As we do this, we must keep in mind the following pertinent questions and issues. We must ask ourselves, what if international borders are once again closed and a fresh round of extreme restrictions on the international movement of goods and purposes are once again imposed? How shall we react? What if the current COVID-19 status quo prevails for longer than expected? And how ready is our nation's healthcare system, our supporting infrastructure, and our human resource base? How ready are we in the event of an emergence of a similar public health emergency sometime in the future? We must ask these and other profound questions, just as is being done in every other nation across the world. The pandemic has underscored the urgent need for Kenya to revitalize our health and welfare systems, establish a more progressive, effective, agile, as well as a sustainable safety net that meets the fast-changing needs of both current and future generations, and the need for closer planning and cooperation between our two tiers of government. I am glad to note that a positive aspect of this pandemic has been the fortification of intergovernmental relations between the two tiers of government. We have discovered new synergies, developed collaborative arrangements that can cascade to other areas of service to Kenyans and show that we can truly fulfill the one government of Kenya ideal. Together, Chairperson, we have expanded our physical health infrastructure, installed new and more medical equipment, recruited additional healthcare workers, upskilled our health service labor force, and deployed a testing and contact tracing system that has been a role model for other African nations. And all of this together has moved Kenya closer to achieving our universal health coverage. And it is for this reason that the county government COVID-19 social economic re-engineering and recovery strategy could not have come at a better time. The strategy, of which we have heard a brief summary from Governor Anyang', and that we are just about to launch, is targeted at creating a grassroots social economic upsurge that will build on the innovation and resilience that we have seen during this pandemic. This strategy must drive real growth and rebound within the counties, which, when coupled with the complementary efforts that we have introduced and shall continue to implement at the national level, I believe that these two aspects together shall and can deliver great dividends to all Kenyans. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenyans are looking to us as their leaders to guide this nation out of the quagmire caused by the pandemic and into greater equity, service delivery, and prosperity. Fellow leaders, this is not a time for business as usual. The strategy plans at both the county and national levels draw on limited resources that have become even more diminished due to the social economic impacts of the pandemic. These limited resources must be utilized strictly for the purpose of elevating our nation. They must be used faithfully and with utmost transparency and accountability. We will not have a second chance at implementing recovery and resurgence strategies for the enduring benefit of Kenyans as we do now. If we waste this chance, we will certainly consign our motherland to years of being mired by economic slowdown and social injustice. I call upon all relevant internal units and external agencies to exercise heightened vigilance and oversight to ensure that funds are used prudently and lawfully. I also wish at this juncture to thank all our development partners who have collaborated with us during this period, but also before, and who we look forward to partnering with in the future as we seek to fulfill our social economic objectives as lined out by our own Vision 2030, as outlined in our African Union strategy, as well as the SDGs. We truly appreciate all our development partners who work closely with us to achieving this agenda, and indeed, as was stated, we thank the offices of the United Nations and all the other development partners who have been close collaborators. Asanteni sana. But at this juncture, I must also make it clear that while we appreciate your support and look forward to your collaboration, you must always remember that Kenya has its owners, and its owners are 50 million Kenyans. And please, I ask you to refrain from interfering or telling us or trying to direct us in which way we should go. We are clear on where we want to go. We ask you to join us, to support us in that endeavor. But do not interfere, because we shall not allow for you to dictate to us which direction that should be. That will be up to Kenyans. Na tafadhali nawaomba kwa heshima kubwa, mtuheshimu ndio tuwaheshimu. Si namna hiyo, kila mtu ako na shida zake, ama namna gani? Even they have their own problems to resolve huko kwao. They have no business lecturing us about how to fix ours. Anyway, I say that in good faith, very good faith. I will not allow that, and we shall not allow that as a country. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I wish to extend our internal national gratitude, especially to our health workers, whose excellent services and sacrifices have saved countless lives. I also wish to thank our law enforcement, our administration officers, our essential service providers, all at the national and county government levels, who have kept the Kenya flame burning bright, and for that we shall forever be eternally grateful. I wish to thank both houses of parliament for appropriating the resources that we have needed in this period of pandemic, and I look forward to further collaboration with you as we continue with our recovery strategy. I commend our judiciary for embedding innovation and technology in keeping the wheels of justice turning, and I also thank the executive at both levels, as well as our county assemblies, for your diligence and drive. Kenya's religious sector, our private sector, and Kenyans from all walks of life have stepped up when called upon. And I am confident that if we continue working together, just as we have done in the last 9 months, Kenya can and will emerge from this crisis better and stronger. Our unity is indeed our shield and our greatest strength. When we all pull in the same direction, there is nothing that Kenya cannot achieve. So with these brief remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it is not only my distinct honor, but also pleasure to declare the county government COVID-19 social economic re-engineering recovery strategy for 2020-21 to 22-23 officially launched, and I also wish you every success in completing this magnificent building that we have just seen, and I look forward to joining you at a later date when we shall be here proudly opening your new facility. Na wewe Bwana Eugene uanze kutafuta vile utaondoka ukuje mkae na hawa kwa hii nyumba hapa. Hakuna haja ya unalipa rent huko na hawa wamekupatia space hapa. Kuja ukae na wao. Ufanye kazi na wao. Mungu awabariki nyote na walinde. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate His Excellency, and most humbly I now wish to invite His Excellency at the lounge position so that His Excellency can press the buzzer. It is the official launch, and the President now presses the buzzer with the Chairman, the Deputy President, and also the Speaker of the Senate. Serikali ndio hiyo. Let's appreciate them as the President presses the buzzer.
The Council of Governors presents to you County COVID-19 Socio-Economic Reengineering Recovery Strategy.
Let us appreciate the strategy, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Tupongeze kazi nzuri iliyofanywa na magavana wetu, and very specifically Council of Governors. Thank you. Thank you. Let's appreciate once again the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Moatia Club, the official launch of the county COVID-19 socio-economic engineering and recovery strategy. Nitaomba Mheshimiwa Rais anikubalie nimuombe atamkabidhi naibu wa rais kopi moja. Nitaomba my colleague Mercy a copy to His Excellency the President ili amkabidhi naibu wa rais. Tumpongeze kwa makofi tafadhali. Nitaomba amkabidhi mwenyekiti the COG chair. Asante sana. Nitaomba amkabidhi the co-chair the vice chair Honorable Mongi Wairia kutoka Murang'a kindly. Thank you Governor. Asante. The chairman of the committee Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. Mheshimiwa Nderito Mureithi. Na kwa niaba ya Gender Balance, the Deputy Governor from Nyeri. Nitaomba wale ambao tuko kwenye jukwaa tutaweza kuzishika ili tuweze kupata picha moja tafadhali. The Excellency, one copy for His Excellency ili tuweze kupata picha. Let us appreciate the county COVID-19 socio-economic reengineering and recovery strategy. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Niombe sote sasa kwa heshima walio na kofia ambazo si rasmi tuweze kuzitoa ili tuwe wima kwa wimbo wa taifa. Asanteni sana. Nitaomba viongozi wote waweze kuwa watulivu tunapompa mheshimiwa nafasi ya kuondoka. Tuwe watulivu tafadhali ili tumpe mheshimiwa rais nafasi anapoondoka. Wengine wote tuwe watulivu tafadhali, tusitoke nje ili mheshimiwa rais aweze kuondoka kwa hiari yake. Asanteni sana, muwe na siku njema.
All right, that is the culmination of this event that began in the morning. President Uhuru Kenyatta there just having officially launched the county COVID-19 recovery re-engineering strategy that touches on how the country will bounce back post-COVID-19. Following what has happened during this pandemic. President Uhuru Kenyatta there speaking earlier mentioned the projections that are currently being issued concerning the world economy, saying that it is projected to reduce by 20%, and Kenya is also not left out of the countries that have been affected drastically by the COVID-19 pandemic economically. President there mentioning that this year we are going to record a lesser economic growth compared to what we recorded in the year 2019, citing sectors like the tourism and agriculture as some of the sectors that have been drastically affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. He actually just challenged the gathering today to think about some fundamental issues going forward, looking at the future, asking what if the current status of the COVID-19 pandemic persists? What will the country do? What are some of the efforts and measures that the country is currently working on to ensure that even if it goes on for longer than expected, the country will be able to manage? And also talking about how ready we are in case of a similar health crisis in the near future. Have we learned from the COVID-19 pandemic so that in case this happens again, what is it that we will do different as a country? He talked about some of the efforts that the country has put in place in managing the COVID-19 pandemic, talking about the health aspect of it and even the economic aspect of it. But going forward, His Excellency the President actually was talking about the need to look at how we can utilize the limited resources that are currently available across the counties, even in the implementation implementation of this economic recovery strategy. He talked about the need to observe, to do this under the lawful mechanisms, so that even if we go about utilizing these resources, they are not being channeled or being channeled to areas that may not be prioritized. Of course, he also just talked about some of the key issues that we ought to look at as opportunities and even the good side of this pandemic, saying that what has happened in the last few months, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, he talked about lessons that we can draw and even efforts we have put in place. Like in the health sector, he cited that there are quite a number of improvements that have been put in place that would take us closer to the realization of the universal health coverage, and of course just are saying that in terms of employing more healthcare workers and improving the health infrastructure across the hospitals, this is something that we have managed to do in just a few months compared to what we would have done if, say, COVID-19 would not have struck the country. So President Uhuru Kenyatta just, sort of encouraging the nation to look at this from the two sides of the coin. It may have come with its negative side, but also it comes with lessons that we can borrow as a country. But he has really taken time to hail the country on the efforts we have put in place so far with regards to the mitigation measures on COVID-19. Now, this document that has just been launched today is going to be very pivotal in terms of how the country is going to bounce back and come back to sort of near normalcy when it comes to the economic aspect. I'll just take you through some of the key pillars of the county COVID-19 recovery re-engineering strategy that touch on issues to do with boosting private sector activity, strengthening ICT capacity, human capital development, policy, legislative and institutional reforms, among other key pillars that are informing what the country needs to be able to recover courtesy of the challenges that we have experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, that is what we have been doing here since morning, and we really appreciate you creating time to catch this live broadcast. My name is Safina Ching Oma. On behalf of the entire team that has been doing this for you, thank you so much once again. And now we hand you over back to the broadcasting house.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more.